Good afternoon, this is Ingram from BWTMONLINE, and today we'll be talking to Rahman from Nubia magazine. Good afternoon, Angela.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Okay, so tell me about Nubia magazine. How did it get started?
Okay, Nubia magazine started in 2008. It started particularly because I was teaching and faced discriminatory practices, and as a result it drove me to create a publication that will celebrate difference, that would create a platform where people can celebrate ethnicity and educate them with respect to a diverse culture.
Okay, so usually situations happen or organisations are created because people see a flaw in the system. Maybe they feel that there is something that's not quite right, or maybe they're being directly affected by situations that, you know what, I want to put that right and I can do that better. So would you say that your situation was...
Absolutely, I wanted to put it right. In fact, I was diagnosed with high levels of depression whilst I was writing on my kitchen table. I put all this thing together and I'm thinking there is such a need, particularly where I live, for diverse people to have a voice, for people outside the diverse community to be educated and appreciate and celebrate difference, and that was the whole drive for me to do it.
Okay, so Nubia, what does it mean?
Nubia, it's amazing because I was thinking, I want a word that represents me, a person of colour. And when I looked at Nubia and I was sort of doing some research on Nubia, I was totally, capitalised by Nubia, the people itself. Nubian people, as you know, the Nubia people in South Sudan, till today, fighting for the right to exist, the right to practice their culture, the right to have a voice. And so Nubia essentially means that. It's a publication meaning that we have the right to be who we are, to celebrate who we are, to be who we are, to celebrate our culture, our heritage. And the Nubia people are very determined people. And it's a rich country. So Nubia is also rich. It's a determined people. It's a determined publication. And that's what Nubia means and what it represents.
So the idea Nubia itself, so you know the meaning.
Yeah.
But the actual inspiration for you to say, well, let's call this Nubia magazine.
The inspiration was, again, I investigated the people. The people were, the fighters, they don't stop at they don't stop at the first door being slammed. And it's me, I don't stop. I don't care how many doors have been slammed. And we as a people, the Nubian people, whether you're African Caribbean or African American, we don't stop, we don't stop. We continue fighting, even though doors have been shut in our faces. And so Nubia represents the whole collection of the Nubia people.
So, okay, so you've got the idea. So where did you go from that point? So you've got the idea, you've got the name. What did Angela have to do next?
Okay, so what I did next was I started to think about articles that I could write that would celebrate people within that particular community. So I went out and I sort of did some research on some amazing people that were doing extraordinary things, and they were for me the unsung heroes.
Wow.
I did not want a publication that would celebrate the celebrities as we, the so-called celebrities of this world. Because the celebrities for me, for Nubia, are people that are doing amazing work at grassroots level that don't get any media, or radio play. And so I went and searched for these amazing people, and as a result of that search, we put together a collection of articles and images, and got people also to send in stories and work that they're doing within the community. And it was amazing, it was extraordinary, because people in the community, particularly like the police and statutory bodies, also jumped on board this amazing concept of Nubia, because equally they too wanted to access this amazing diverse community because they struggle to access this community. And so we worked together collectively. So we had statutory bodies, the voluntary sector, people from grassroots level contributing to Nubia, the first publication that was started on my kitchen table.
Wow, that's phenomenal. The response, that response that you had, what did it do for you?
The response was amazing, and particularly because I put myself out there for the community after experiencing what I experienced. So I started to join organisations where I could be an advocate, where I could be a voice for the people. And so it was in joining, in being a part of the system, instead of staying outside the system, I became involved in the system. And then what happened subsequently in doing that, they knew who I was and they wanted to get involved.
There's the key question. So you've been in the system as a teacher, you have faced or seen the discrimination that's going on. You said, okay, I'm going to try and make a change. I'm going to create what you've now got, Nubia magazine. The thing now is, now that you're doing what you do you think that you're making the change which is necessary, that when you started to go in and saw the discrimination, do you think what you're doing is effective, not for the short term, but for the long term and the long haul for the young people and for those people who are not being celebrated?
What was extraordinary was, from the kitchen table, it became too much to manage. And so I moved from the kitchen table into an office. I created Nubia as a social enterprise initially, and so Nubia grew, it outgrew me. And so Nubia definitely was effective because then it created work and employment opportunities for young people, not only young people, for the voluntary sector, volunteers, and also for universities, schools, and the local community got involved in Nubia. And so agencies such as Job Centre Plus and the graduate training program jumped on board Nubia, and so yes, it was effective.
In terms of Nubia magazine, and obviously it's out there now, the first publication went out. What happened when that first publication did go out?
Amazing, because what happened was I wanted to make such an impact and such a difference in the community where it started. And so Nubia was launched on Black History Month in a library in that community.
Wow. And
I had such a massive turnout, a collection of people, representations from the whole sectors of the community, particularly the statutory agencies, the police, the voluntary sector, health organisations, ambulance services. Everyone was there. The mayor was actually there also to support Nubia at its first launch of its first publication. So it was an amazing event, yes.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So how long has Nubia been running now then?
Nubia's been running since July 2008.
Wow, that's a long time. That's quite. So, okay, from the first publication, I mean, was it a financial cost to you to get it all together, or how did you go about that?
Totally. I had a settlement from my discrimination case, and I thought, okay, it wasn't a massive amount of money, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take the proceeds of this and create Nubia, and that's how I started.
So you got yourself, there was a situation, you won the case, I gather.
Yes.
And from winning the case, you used money to go towards Nubia. So, I mean, so somebody listening to this conversation we're having here would think, okay, I like what Angela's saying, and maybe I could do that. Maybe not in the UK, maybe they're abroad. They're thinking, I would like to listen to that. What would you suggest to them in terms of the Nubia magazine, as maybe advisory to them in another country? What would be the 3 steps you would say towards creating a magazine that's going to be so effective in the community?
I would say you must have a passion. You have to have a passion for writing, a passion for people, a passion for communicating the message, a passion for the people on the grassroots level, particularly those communities that don't have a voice. If you have all those things, then you can start a publication, because then you'll be representing those people.
Okay, Black History Month, not something that I'm fond of, to be honest, because it's like 1 month where you celebrate blackness, and I kind of I kind of struggle with that because as a people, I don't think that we collectively love one another. And I think that we don't celebrate the successes and the achievements, especially in this country, especially in the UK. In America, you'll see all the time. You'll see the athletes, the runners, the musicians, whatever. You'll see them all, the politicians. You'll see them being celebrated. Whereas in this country, we tend not to celebrate as much, and we seem to kind of think, well, who are they? Who do they think they are? That sort of mentality. So that's why for Black History Month, for me, it always grates me because it's the same old things. You know, Bob Marley, Martin Luther King, the same. But there's so many other people out there. Yeah. How does Nubia go about changing that sort of perception for young people especially?
Well, like you, I don't do, other than the launch, that happened, I'm not a, quote, Black History Month person, Nubia, because we want to celebrate, the achievements of everyone every day.
Absolutely.
And so every day for Nubia is Black History Month.
Right.
And so we research people in the community that are doing tremendous work, as I mentioned before, at a grassroots level, that's making a difference to people's lives. And then those are the people, the unsung heroes that we go after to put into Nubia. So we are not a Black History Month on October, and I know it's American February in the States.
Yes.
We are not a fan of that.
So you two agree?
Yeah,
it's just something we should celebrate all the time.
Every day.
So tell us the sort of stories that have really captured your imagination and also go, wow, that's amazing.
There's been so many stories, and I think young people particularly, I think they are so creative. And I remembered at our launch, our first launch, there was a collection of young people. And they are a collection of people who are entrepreneurs, who have started their own business, whether it's either designing a shoe, or designing some jewellery, or even starting a book. And those are the amazing people that we love, singing there and celebrating their stories and their success. So it's a collection of creative people that Nubia celebrates.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit more about Nubia in terms of the reach of the publication that you've got at the moment, the magazine.
Well, in this year, 2014, we've gone digital with Nubia, in the sense of that we have created a Nubia site where all our articles can go out globally because we have global writers. And ATIA, of course, is one of them. And so we don't want to be restricted. And as you know, the print media is changing as we speak. And so digital is the way forward. So we have a digital platform to complement our global writers so that we can reach a global audience. So that's where Nubia is going at the moment. And we have, as you know, started an online program for writers, for global writers, to encourage people who love and enjoy writing to write for our publication. Particularly in the UK, I'm not sure what it is in the States, but what we find, media students or journalism students, particularly of colour, seem to struggle to find work in the industry. And so Nubia wants to provide an opportunity for them to start their working with us so that can be a stepping stone to get into the industry.
So in terms of the writers, the aspiring writers that have come forward, where have they come from? Where's your responses been from mainly?
Amazingly, it's been mainly from South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and the States. And we have some UK writers as well.
Okay, so when does the program actually begin?
Well, Monday was the deadline, and so the program's already beginning. Many of these collection of these writers have already started their assignments. And once they've started their assignments, they're going to start working for us, and so that's amazing. It's already started.
What about the Caribbean? Have you had any responses from the Caribbean?
No, interestingly, we haven't had any responses from the Caribbean, and I think that's so unfortunate because my parents are Caribbean. And I want a representation from the Caribbean.
Absolutely.
We want to know what's happening in the Caribbean, and so
what is happening?
So any Caribbean creative writers please get in touch with us. We can give you an opportunity. You're probably giving him freelance. You've lost the opportunity, particularly to come on board this writing program, but you can perhaps freelance for us. We want to know what's happening in the Caribbean, so please get in touch.
So, let's go back now. With every journey there's a struggle.
Absolutely.
What's been the perception of people that have seen Nubia magazine and then met you afterwards?
Well, they've said, "Oh, you are as we expected." And I don't know whether that's a good thing or not.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
And so, I am me. I am authentic. I am creative. I am outspoken. I am fearless. I am determined. And so, when they look at Nubia, I want that to be there, to be the outcome.
But don't you think you need to be like that to make something like Nubia successful?
Absolutely, you do need to be like that.
Because the opposition, as I was asking earlier, the opposition can be quite intense when you're trying to do something for your own.
Absolutely.
And the hurtful thing for me is that when it's your own people,
oh my God,
you think, hey.
Yeah.
We look the same.
Yeah.
We should really be working together. You find young people trying to pull you down. Why is this the case?
I think, again, I think it's an education thing. I think, when you've grown and you've matured and you've educated yourself, then you realise that it's not actually about you. It's actually about the people and the next generation to come.
Yes.
And so it's important to leave a legacy for the next generation, like the people did before us.
Yes.
And so if you have that mindset, that we're not fighting each other, that we're all in the same boat, and that we should, before we go, leave something for the next generation.
So what's the vision for Nubia now? You've gone from paper form to now digital. You've got aspiring writers. You've also been on the radio as well. Tell us about the radio experience, by the way.
Yeah, we had a radio show that we ran every week, religiously, and it was an amazing experience particularly because we had the opportunity to again profile these people that we showcase in the magazine on radio. And so we would interview entrepreneurs, authors, musicians, artists, and it was an amazing experience. Nubia, we are in the making of doing that again. We want to have our own radio station, our own radio show, and so that's what we're in the making to do in the future. Nubia, again, we are partnering with some amazing organisations that do see our vision, and so we would like to offer, again, employment. We are actually going to be paying some of these writers that have written for us, and we want to offer employment opportunities for people that work with Nubia, so that they can not only experience sort of writing or being creative, but also get paid for their talent. Because that's one thing that we lack in our community. We do a lot of volunteering, we do a lot of, buy now, pay back later.
Yes.
But, we want to get paid, because when we get paid, we get appreciated, and then you put value to it. So that's where Nubia's going in the future.
Okay. How do you feel young black people are perceived in the UK by the media?
The media in the UK are a terrible, I think, instrument, particularly for celebrating people of, colour. Usually they like to do a negative spin on successful people. I recall reading an article on, I think it was Taylor, the person in that was actually convicted of crime, particularly with the blood diamonds. And they always, particularly the right wing press, to attach a successful person, such as Naomi Campbell, for instance. And instead of using Naomi Campbell's success story in the sense of her being a success as an individual, as a model for so many years, they had to attach something negative to that. And what they attached was, Naomi was, had a relationship with Taylor with respect to these conflict diamonds, and not really investigating the real story. When we talk about young people, particularly wearing hoodies, it's always associated with negativity, that they're thugs, that they're up to no good. So the media struggles with, providing a positive representation with people that are doing amazing work. They struggle with that. And as a result of that, as a consequence of that, we have people in society who judge us, unnecessarily judge us, to be those negative representations, which is so unfortunate.
Let's go into the educational system. It's something that, as a mentor, I've been involved in myself. And one of the things I found was that a lot of the young black boys were unable to access the curriculum the way they should be able to, because they may have had a previous encounter with a teacher, and the teacher would now kick them out of class, doesn't want them to be in that lesson, and by kicking them out of lesson, then they have to be into a exclusion unit, and then that stops them from actually accessing the curriculum. Now, if that's in a bulk load of young people, and if that teacher happens to be racist, then there is a problem with that young person being able to access curriculum. In your experience, what are your views of the education system here with regards to our young people?
That's amazing and extraordinary, particularly because I'm a former parent governor, and I was responsible for the achievements of black minority ethnic young people. And so what I found, particularly, yes, absolutely, I totally agree with you, is that what we find is the transition from primary to secondary seems to be such a problem or a challenge, particularly with young black men, particularly, and young women. We found that the transition from primary to secondary is such a traumatic experience, particularly because the teachers don't seem to understand young black people or people of colour. They have this concept that because we're loud, because we're boisterous, they seem to think that's a problem. So they have associated being loud, being boisterous, with having ADHD. My son was labelled with that. My son, a young black man, was told that he could not achieve, that he would not be an academic. I'm so happy that he proved them wrong. He's actually in his second year in university doing business management. And so it just proves that the educational system are racist. It's institutionalized in racism. I was told that I would only become a typist when I was at school. And the story goes on. So I think what it is, particularly our community, we also have to take our responsibility. We have to be involved in the system. I became a parent governor, so I had to go to the meetings. I had to sacrifice my evenings in front of the telly and go to these, parent evenings. And so we have to be fully engaged in our children's learning and not leave the responsibility for learning or the onus on learning on the teachers. We have to do the homework with them. We have to make sure they're doing their homework. We have to, if we don't understand the curriculum, get ourselves conversant with the curriculum so that we can in turn help them. We don't help them by just sitting down and leaving the teachers to school our children. We have to be, partakers in their learning.
And vigilant.
And vigilant. Yes. And proactive.
Absolutely.
So I think that is, the issue that we face in the education.
Okay, Angela, just look down the camera. and those people who are watching the interview, I want you to tell them how they can contact you and Nubia magazine and where you're available.
Okay, I just quickly want to mention that we've started a publishing also service for authors, and so if you want to contact us, you have a manuscript, you're a writer, you want to join a writing program, contact Angela at nubiamagazine.com, or you can email me, that's the email, or you can call me. Our contact details are on our website, www.nubiamagazine.com or www.nubia.limited.uk. Thank you.
Wow, that's Angela Rahman, and this is Ingram Jones of Bayloric TV. An absolutely outstanding conversation I've had here with Angela. We're out. Thanks for watching.